Hey guys, today I want to give you an overview of some of the content components. On our last episode, I did give an overview of the layout components, and we'll start with that existing page. So do take a look at that if you haven't. And even then, we did add a couple of kind of standard content components to a page, but I wanted to give a more comprehensive overview of some of the content components that are available in Sitecore Foundation. So I'll start out by just choosing a column, and the first set of components I want to talk about are the heading components. Now all the heading components actually share the same content type under the covers, which means you can actually change renderings pretty easily, or you can plug these in and attach them to similar renderings. So let's just pick H2 for now. And here we get our dialog for where we want to take existing content for. We can create new content. This is a heading that actually exists under the page already, so let me just select it. I don't think I had any content in there, so we'll actually have to say heading A. All right, so that should be fine. And you know what, let me just save it for now so it doesn't disappear, because we made a bunch of these, and what I'm going to want to do is select that same heading a couple of times. So let's do an H3. Let's pick the same heading. And let's do an H4 and do the same thing. So that just shows you can have different components share the same rendering. And they are set up as compatible renderings, so you actually can go do that. Not only is it compatible with H1, H2, and H3, it's also compatible with the text component in case we just want to turn to normal text. So I did set up compatible renderings on some of these components. So those are headings. Next, let's talk about some of the simple content components. Texts are pretty straightforward. Let's just do one real quick. And you know what, let's just take existing text. Let's take New York. Great. And then over here, let's do an image. And let's take the HTML5 logo, which is not an HTML5 logo after all. And then here, let's do, you know, I won't do an HR here, but you know what? Let's do an alert. So labels and alerts are Sitecore Foundation widgets. So they have specific CSS classes and markup to that, but they also have enhancements you can use to customize the look and feel. Actually, you know what? Let's not put a little alert here just because this is only a middle column. What I'll do is let's add another component under the 3 column. Let's just do a full width. And you know what? Let's, before we do anything else, let's add an HR, which is just a horizontal rule. Right? And what we'll do is underneath the HR, let's add a alert. Now alerts are text components like the other components, so we actually can use the same thing, but they'll show up in more texty things. So, you know, let's do a new one. Let's just call this alert 1. And I am an alert. Full text editor. And one of the cool things we could do with alerts is we can go to the component properties, and we can set a category and style. So if we want this to be a success alert, and maybe with the round corners, we can do that. We also have access to all the other ones. We can set an ID, CSS class if we want to target for specific styling, all the show high parameters that Foundation gives us. So we click OK to that. And sometimes this happens, you just have to save it. It just gets dirty. And then it's back. So alerts are actually pretty cool. Let's do something similar. Let's do a button over here. let's just do a new, so buttons are links, so there's certain things that really are just an item with a link in it. So anything that binds to something like that can bind to that content type. So let's just have my, I think I did a button last time, so that's why you're seeing that. So let's just do a simple button. Let's set the link, my button. You know what, let's just even go to the airspace site. It's kind of cool. And similar to that, we can go to our button, our component properties. We can set, let's make it a tiny button, but let's make it a warning. And we can go with the radius borders. And sometimes that happens again, so we'll save it. Hopefully it'll come back. Yeah, tiny, little tiny rounded corners. My button. And then let's do something else here. All right, so we covered that. We talked about nesting layouts. These are just more HTML5 structure type stuff. We'll cover collections and some of these in another podcast just because these are pretty interesting and it will warrant its own. But I mean, buttons, you can do a button bar, button groups if you have groups of buttons. Navigation we'll cover separately. Yeah, let's do a panel. Panel is pretty much a simple content type. So let's do one of those. So panel is just really a container, and in there we can put you know what, let's do a video. Actually, no, we'll spend a whole session just on video.js because there's a lot of options there to go through. Yeah, we'll just do an image. We'll do it as a figure though, which is just another type of container for an image. So let's do global image, see what that is. Yep, digitize. That's just the Sitecore lady. So as you can see, there's a lot of components that are available. And if you haven't noticed already, you actually can go to sitecorefoundation.com. This is a working version of the starter kit, and if you go to the component guide, you actually get examples of all the components laid out. So you can see all the grid scenarios, your text components, image components, things like that. So feel free to go through that so you can see what the output looks like and the different options. So these are actually rendering parameters that you can set on button groups and things like that to have different behaviors, right? So lots of foundation-based content components. And that's it for tonight. Thanks.